side. The Bradford Bulls, though, they're after the top spot again by 2 points, and they have Withers, Vicona, Naylor, Mackay, McAvoy and the two Paul boys. And the forwards, Vanganar, Lowes and McDermott, Gartner, Rigon and Forshaw. That's their team, starting lineup. On the bench, Price, Anderson, Gilmore and Radford. The coach is Brian Noble. Warrington Wolves, Penny, Hunt, Coelove, Sibbett, Smythe. Nicow is the captain, Lee Breers is injured from Tuesday night and John Clark takes over the mantle of Alan Langer. The forwards, Gise, Gleeson on his debut, Masella, McCurry, Mercer and Noon. And on the bench, Olsted, Wood, Hulse, another debutant, and Gary Chambers, who's been looking after the reserve grade here. And the coach for today anyway is Paul Derbyshire. So it's Warrington against Bradford. Warrington, the unpredictables of Super League 6, but they have been decimated by injuries, suspensions and tragedy this year. Against Bradford, who at Valley Parade in May, having just lost the Challenge Cup final, bounced back and beat the Bulls 56-24. Match referee is Stuart Cummings. Rain is teeming down at Wilderspool, but the Barmy Army are here and they're wondering to see what sort of team Warrington will prove to be today. Henry Paul gets us underway. Match in progress. On paper, Steve-O, Warrington with it all to do.
Going to be difficult for the Wolves tonight, especially with the fact without Breers and of course Langer all the way back to Australia. Tawira Nicow at standoff. John Clark, the hooker, will play half-back. He's never played in that position before, so it's going to be difficult up against the two Paul brothers.
It's Warrington with first use of the football, and here is Martin Masella, but he is trapped by Gartner first and then Brian McDermott. Brian McDermott, number 22, the man that Brian Noble says he his first name on his team sheet. And that is Paul Noon, substitute in the last two. Now then it's Steve McCurry. He'll drive it at McDermott. Vanganar is there, and also there Gartner once again.
Well, when you look at this Bradford lineup, they will start this game odds-on favourites, that is for sure. But St Helens went to the jungle last night. They were odds-on favourites too, and that's great defence from Warrington. And we all know what the Tigers did last night.
This now is Tavita Vicona, but Warrington working very hard at marker position, and leading the way was Alan Hunt. This is Nathan McAvoy, tackled there by Mark Gleeson, 19 years of age, only his second appearance of the year. Not the best pass from Robbie Paul, off the boot of Graham Mackay and out, head and feet at the scrum to Warrington.
Well, very lax indeed. You can see there that the big fella Graham Mackay had no chance of it. And they can't just think they can turn up here at Wilderspool and just waltz away with those two valuable points which they need to keep the top spot in Super League.
They're there on points difference, but it would open up a 2-point gap between themselves and Wigan. And of course, top spot come the end of the day means the home route all the way to Old Trafford. Nicow, he dropped that ball, it went backwards. There's Paul Derbyshire in charge today, but there must be a huge cloud hanging over his particular future. Now that the new men have been named, Anderson and Plange, just wondering what future men like Paul Derbyshire have here at Warrington, although young Paul has done a fine job as Darryl van der Velde's assistant over the past 4 years.
Well, it must be a difficult position for Paul Derbyshire, as you mentioned. It's but I must say that Warrington, who nearly all this side on the Wolves outfit, they were playing tonight in front of the new coach and trying to secure a new contract. So there's plenty to play for as far as they're concerned. Brian Noble, of course, had the luxury of trying to rest Deacon and Leon Price, but it was Peacock that came out with a late fitness problem, so Price is on the bench, but he's got so much depth as Brian Noble.
Smythe did well to collect that high crossfield kick, but the chase is good. Rigon and Brian McDermott, and they're dragging him back towards his own
That's got to be a
post.
penalty.
It is now.
He was stopped on one occasion, and you can't restart. Stuart Cummins had already whistled the fact that he was held.
Yes, he shouted tackled one,
He
but
wasn't
not
held
here.
here, no. And
There.
then
That was
and
it.
he continued on. A little bit over enthusiasm there from Brian McDermott. And of course, we've had quite a lot of rain over the last couple of hours, so the conditions will be quite slippy.
Hang on. Let's get in, Shane, and bind in. Let's make it look like a scrum, fellas. Let's try and bind in. Shane, bind in the far side, wait till the ball's out.
Well, feeding the scrum there for Warrington was John Clark.
Okay, tackle one.
This is Tawera Nikau. One would assume that this is the end of his glorious career. Mercer's dropped the ball under pressure. Mackay has it back for the Bulls.
Well, we said it was going to be slippy there. Mercer just couldn't keep control. A few minutes before, Jerome Guisset, he popped up the ball early in the tackle count. It is a problem for the Wolves at the moment.
Bradford in possession then. Lowe's to Robbie Paul, and he looks right and finds Henry. Tried to put Danny Gartner through the gap. Warrington will be enthusiastic tonight, there's no doubt about that. They are, as Steve-O says, playing for their very futures. Vanganar here, attracting 4 to him.
Well, he needs a quick play of the ball. A little bit slow there as a big prop forward.
Come down the short side with Withers. That's the Warrington line, that's how close the Bulls are. Nearly 5 minutes gone. It's with James Lowe's. On it goes to Robbie Paul, a stab through, an invitation for Rigon. Collected and grounded behind his own try line by Toa Koilov. It's a dropout underneath the sticks coming up.
Good option from Paul there, but I'm afraid he was on his own. None of his teammates really responded. But Robbie was very quick indeed to make sure that he tackled Vakona, should I say Koilov, underneath the sticks.
Question marks about this fella's future as well. A couple of clubs have been linked with him for next year. Of course, it's now open season. Oh, it's a knock on. Oh, well, he's lucky to get away with that. It's Brian McDermott. That went forward.
Yep. He was a long way away with Stuart Cummings, but no assistance from the touch judge.
Well, he got away with it probably because he was facing his own line. Anyway, the Bulls in full throttle.
That
and
was
McAvoy
forward.
through the gap. McAvoy. That's great defence. Super defence from Lee Penny.
Great tackle, but it should have been brought back for the forward pass anyway. Nathan McAvoy really was racing for the corner. The fullback Penny picked him out, and that was a forward pass for mine. It was delayed very late from Robbie Paul. But look at this tackle.
Let's get everybody in.
Oh, wonderful stuff there. It's not going to be all one-way traffic. And I think the Bulls are a little bit sort of lackadaisical. I think it could be easy, but it won't be, I can assure you.
Warrington Rock this week. Alan Langer has followed Darryl van der Velde out of the club. Langer a try to end his career in the 1918 victory at Wakefield last weekend. A slender win at Bellevue, though. It ended a run of 3 straight defeats, which had totally killed off Warrington's playoff hopes. Here's Martin Masella. He's through the first challenge of McDermott. Couldn't get away from Mackay. It's the last tackle for Warrington. They're inside their own half still. And the kick from John Clark. Good kick too, but Vicona had funneled back. And the chase from Warrington is enthusiastic.
Oh, that's a great effort. John Clark in the unaccustomed role of having the kicking game out there, and it was a good one, and the kick's only as good as a chase, and it was superb.
Well, Clark has certainly never played scrum half in his professional career before. This is the way it looks as Warrington get the ball back from another mistake.
McAvoy was.
As you can see here at Wilderspool, it's pretty tight. Warrington haven't done a bad job here, but they have an awful record when they travel to Bradford. Nikau, and he finds Penny. Penny trying to jink inside Henry Paul, and he does. Gardner's there, and Naylor just managed to haul him back as he was about to put the ball down.
Trying to milk the penalty as well.
Didn't get it. It's with McCurry. Rigon got to him, so too did Robbie Paul.
Well, the Bulls are still on the bus. Their defence is all at sea.
Masella, McDermott and Forshaw. Tackle. 2 more tackles left here for Warrington. Can they strike the first blow with Clark now? And a little stab forward by Nikau. Oh, and risky business. Henry Paul flicking it back to Michael Withers, and Withers had nowhere to go.
little bit too fancy there. Neat little kick though. Nick out, putting the pressure on. And the fullback Michael Withers said, thank you very much indeed, Henry.
He just covered up, didn't he?
He did well to get that, Mercer. That really was bobbling. Oh, and has dropped it.
He's dropped it now. That was a big hit by Nathan McAvoy. And they've got some open space to exploit here. Forward then, I think, to Vicona, was it? Maybe momentum.
Great tackle from Alan Hunt. Took a huge gamble there.
Vicona gets it away to Naylor. Naylor jumps over the top of the grounded players. But Gleeson did well, brought him down. Lowe's, Gartner. Big hit by Guisset. The French international revelling in the prop forward role this year. Hasn't started in his favoured second row position in Super League 6.
Pretty solid
defence. Not for his club anyway.
No, but pretty solid defence by Warrington.
Henry Paul, Mike Forshaw.
That's a mistake. And this will be the first knock on. No advantage to Warrington.
First one there. First one.
Well, we said it was pretty slippy out there.
Well, the rain teamed down earlier, and it teamed down as the players were out warming up, and it's a little bit greasy.
Let's go, fellas.
Good tackle though by Martin Marcella. Really got the shoulder in on this fella, Mike Forshaw.
Well, they're looking to extend the winning run of 4 matches. Their last defeat was at Wigan, 44-30 on the 29th of June for Bradford. 180 points in 4 straight wins. I wonder who can deny them pole position this year to take with them into the playoff series.
Well, they're a real yo-yo side, aren't they, Warrington, this season? As Eddie mentioned, they were just about to kick off for their fans. It's been a rough season for them, that which team appears each week. Sometimes it's good and other times it's bad. And there's a new coach, Anderson. High at the back of the stands, just watching on. Of course, Paul Derbyshire will be in charge, but no doubt Anderson will be in the dressing room at half-time.
And he's alongside Paul Derbyshire in the Erie here at Wilderspool. That's a good kick. Good kick from John Clark. And Warrington and their supporters will be fueled today by the knowledge that they beat Bradford last year, the only team at that stage to have toppled the Bradford Bulls during Super League 5. It was a shock win, 42-32. And Warrington's fortunes 12 months ago, Steve-O, were in exactly the same chaotic state as they are now.
Yeah, it's an amazing situation for them, but their tactics are very good indeed. Nothing fancy, and making sure that the kicking game is good, and it certainly has been from John Clark so far.
And they will remember, of course, that they have beaten Wigan, St Helens and Leeds here this year. And this is the last of the big 4 to turn up at Wilderspool in 2001.
I must say there are times when Bradford, when they don't sort of blitz their opposition in the opening sort of 10 minutes, and that's lost.
Come out. Banganar's lost it.
And knock-ons yet again. Well, we expected quite a lot of mistakes out there. It certainly wasn't interfered with. No doubt about that. He lost it. Paul Noon was over the top. Banganar was at a fine season. The big prop forward. Yet another mistake, and there'll be plenty more to come.
Well, a lot of drop ball in the opening 12 and a quarter minutes here at Wilderspool. It did rain earlier on. Let's get a check on the conditions pitch side. Bill, what's it like on the foot?
It's terrible, Eddie. It's relentless rain. It's very reminiscent of good old winter rugby league. Thankfully, it's not quite so cold, but the players are having terrible problems that you've seen. The conditioners and the watermen, well, they're not watermen today. They're running out there with cans of spray to try and dry the players' hands out. And now Warrington have sent out for the good old resin. And I think that one's been around for years. Even Steve-O will remember that one.
Do you want to respond to that?
Well, it's something I've never drunk before, but obviously I'll try it, Bill.
This is McCurry. It's about the only thing you haven't ever drunk before, if that be the case.
And if Bill takes it with ice.
Gleeson's the dummy half to Clark. He looks wide and finds Guisset. It's a spirited opening to this match by Warrington. Obviously, they're out to impress.
Well, in these conditions, Eddie, you don't really want to try to keep the ball alive. You've got to ensure that possession, make sure you go through your sets of 6. Just basic rugby league football.
Nick out, tries to escape the clutches of Forshaw, got it away to Mercer. He found Masella. Masella taking on Henry Paul. Naylor's there again to help out. That's the last for Warrington this set of 6. Expect the kick here from Clark. It's a little dab through and it's bounced kindly. They're in. It's Gleeson. Mark Gleeson on his debut. The ball took a ricochet and the entire Bradford defence was going the wrong way, and Warrington come up with the first try, and in truth it's nothing less than they deserve. Gleeson, with his second appearance of the year, comes up with a priceless 4 points.
And again it's from Clark, the kick. Okay, did ricochet, they got the touch of the Blarney Stone on this one, but you force it, and Gleeson gleefully accepts that. And as Eddie mentioned, it has been good build-up by the Warrington Wolves side, and they fully deserve their lead. And yet again, this Bradford side, if they don't get on top early in the opposition, they seem a little bit mystified about it all.
So Rob Smythe with the chance now to add the extra 2. He missed the match at Wakefield last week, his only absence so far. And of course Warrington gave Bradford a real run for their money in the Challenge Cup semi-final, didn't they, earlier in the year at Huddersfield, before Bradford eventually got through to the Twickenham final. And Smythe adds 2 more. So, a surprising scoreline at Wilderspool. Warrington are ahead 6-0 over the Bradford Bulls, and not a bad start for Paul Derbyshire, but not so for Brian Noble.
Not much possession for the Bulls, and when they do have it, they've coughed it up on a few occasions. Beautifully weighted kick. Okay, they got the look of the ricochet, but you make your own luck these days, and at the moment the tactics from Warrington are quite superb.
6-0 then at Wilderspool.
It's amazing, Eddie, isn't it, that it seems every time a club announces a new coach, 90% of the time they play out of their skins.
Well, you never know what mood Warrington are going to turn up in this year. They can be breathtakingly brilliant, as they have been a few times, and that's a 40-20.
He's going to get it.
And he's got it as John Clark.
Or is it? No, it's just short. Just short.
I think he might have been hard done by here.
We can't put where it goes in.
Well, it's all about the angle, really.
Look at it where it goes in.
Certainly had a metre and a half on that side.
As Stuart Cummings has just explained to Warrington, they cannot use the video to look where it crosses the touchline.
It's inside the 20.
But they have been badly done to.
Well, it goes right on the apex there, so it's difficult. Very difficult indeed.
Well, the poor old touch judge was about 40 metres away. I don't know how he can make a definitive decision from that distance, but he has to, of course.
Well, maybe they should add that to the rule.
Well, it's the camera angles again being deceptive, Steve. We're in the business of forward passes then. Someone's hurt, I think. They've immediately called, have they? No.
He just dropped the ball.
He just dropped the ball, did Shane Rigon.
And it was a good impact tackle as well. The Frenchman, Guisset, got to him. Well, they really are getting into the face of this Bradford outfit. The table toppers finding it very difficult indeed to get into any sort of pattern.
Well, pride can provide the spur. It did a year ago when they beat the Bulls, the first team to beat them last year, as I say. And are we on the brink of another surprise in Super League this weekend? Castleford's victory over St Helens last night was most unexpected. And one or two of the Warrington fans I spoke to as I made my way here today said, well, remember Castleford last night? And of course, remember what happened 12 months ago. 6-0. He's lost it though.
Was it pulled out though? I think we're pretty fortunate there. I thought that Jimmy Lowe's perhaps had a bit of a hand to get that football.
Offside, Warrington too eager.
It's imperative now that the Bulls do something with this. And Stuart Cummings had quite a few to select there, including that man Nick out. But he'll lead by example. He's the captain tonight for the Warrington side, in a very unusual position to where a Nick Howard standoff. But the two half-backs, we said that they would perhaps struggle against the two Paul brothers.
And here is one of the Paul brothers, Robbie, running flat, looking for the opening. Nearly appeared. Nailers it. Well, that was never played.
Got to be a penalty, interference. His hands and fingers all over the man. You see there. Had to be a penalty. Well, a bit scrappy, and he knows it, does Brian Noble.
And this is respect, because Henry Paul is going to have a kick at goal from this penalty.
Sorry?
And he looks like he's laying the law down via the walkie-talkie to the sideline, Brian Noble. And on comes Paul Medley and the other water carriers.
Well, they've got to respect possession, and that's what they've failed to do so far. And I think this is the right option. It should be a gift, 2 points.
Well, 117 goals this year for for Henry Paul, beg your pardon. Plus 3 drop goals. It's his farewell season, of course. 8 goals against Warrington in May. Doesn't waste any time in taking the goal kicks. And 2 points to the Bradford total. It's 6-2 at Wilderspool. And maybe that will just be the little settler that Bradford needed, because they looked a little bit out of sorts, and I think Brian Noble knows it.
Well, Brian was out of sorts, I can assure you. He, I don't know what, he didn't really need the apparatus there to send the message down. I think everybody heard in that stand. He wasn't too impressed. He's a patient man, is Brian Noble. But even he realises that this Warrington outfit are getting right into the faces. They're not allowing Bradford any opportunity to keep this ball alive. It's been a good effort in defence.
It has. Midway through the first half then, 6-2 to Warrington, and Phil Clark's on the sideline. This is a scoreline that you wouldn't have tipped, Phil?
No, certainly not, although Warrington have had no problem in the last 2 occasions they've played Bradford scoring tries. They've scored over 20 points on both of those matches, but it's at the other end they've had a difficulty. But tonight they seem to have stiffened up in defence. And just going back to that kick of John Clark's in Australia, they've trialled having 2 referees in one game this weekend. Maybe we need to have 2 touch judges on one side of the field. One to see if the kick is within the 40, and one to see if it crosses it in the opposition 20.
Yeah, not a bad call, particularly when I think Warrington would probably agree with you. And Henry Paul went for a 40-20, but didn't get the distance.
Well, a lot of people are complaining that it costs too much to have 4 officials here already. And of course, when the games aren't televised, they also have the additional 2 for the in-goal touch judges, they're called now. So it's cost a pretty penny, I think, added another 2 officials. Well, as Clarkie's mentioned, it could be the difference between winning and losing someday.
It could. And don't forget, there's Nick House dropped that. Don't forget, there's also the match day coordinator. Was he called the commissioner now, or the commissioner, or whatever he is?
Well, either way, he'll get paid in expenses. And it's difficult, isn't it? Try to hold on to this football. It's very wet indeed. Now then. No, it was just knee of the big fella, Mackay, that dislodged that football.
Robbie Paul from the base of the scrum showed it to Henry. Toa Koilov, I think, got a finger to that. That'll be a knock-on against Koilov. The crowd will go potty here when the referee gives head and feed to Bradford. But he's absolutely right. Yeah,
reef that ball. The right hand deliberately going for the football there from Toa Koilov. Not impressed by it all, neither are the Warrington fans.
Going back to the 40-20 situation, they could actually put a post on the 20-metre line, I suppose, couldn't they? That wouldn't be quite so expensive. Like a corner flag. I think they've got one, but it's almost in the crowd on the far side here.
2, and again, left side.
It is actually, they do have corner posts here for the 20-metre mark, but they're resting against the wall of the terraces, which seems pointless in the extreme.
Well, it's just to help the referee.
But it should be on the line. Anyway.
It could be a bit dangerous.
They made a sponge and plastic of. Anyway, let's talk about the rugby. Mackay plays the ball.
Well, one of the fans had complained. They said they couldn't see the game. Someone will complain.
Henry Paul, Gartner.
Oh, that's great defence. Working overtime is Martin Gleeson in defence.
Henry Paul from dummy half stabs the ball in, bounces off the post. Try for Robbie. He's going to take a look at the grounding.
First of all, see whether he's onside. And secondly, just see if he grounded the ball properly. Just sent the bobble a little bit. He landed.
Well, onside and grounding, but a pinpoint kick from brother Henry and swooped on by Robbie.
Well, he's onside, that I can assure you of. There's Robbie out wide, about 1.5 meters, so that's okay. And they practice this, I can assure you, the two Paul brothers. He deliberately aims for that padding, and he bounced. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. Full control. Lost it as he hit the ground, but you've only got to hold it down for a few seconds. We'll have another little look, but there's no bobble. That's okay. That'll be TRY time, and boy, oh boy, the Bulls needed that.
Well, if it is a try, this levels the scores. Henry and Robbie double act, try. Robbie Paul, only his second start this month. A try at Halifax last week, then he left the field at half-time. Henry now lines the kick up. I told you he wastes no time. So it's the Henry and Robbie show for Bradford. They've given them the lead. 8-2.
Beautifully weighted kick, and he was aiming for that padding at the foot of the post. They try and try. Quite a lot of coaches not too happy with the fact that the padding at the post is square rather than round. But it works for both sides, and that was a neat kick-off. They've got away with it. No, they haven't. Yes, they have.
Play on, says the referee. Marcella has it back for Warrington. Penalty.
They never got back on side.
He stole it too
stole the ball, yeah. Well, that was a neat kick-off there by Warrington.
Graham Mackay, by the way, has made the trip the other way from Leeds Tykes Rugby Union to the Super League.
John, just be careful.
Played for Leeds in the winter, in the season for Leeds, and now he's back in the Super League.
Well, I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago, and he's rather eager to stay in Super League next season as well. I do believe he's out of contract at the end of this year.
Well, he's played in 11 of 14 since he went to Bradford from the Tykes. Rob Smythe. This to level the scores again, and it's a penalty because Graham Mackay stole the ball in a two-man tackle. Giving it a chance, but just wide. 8-6 it stays. Rob Smythe missed Wakefield last week.
Well, at least he kicked it dead, so it'll be the dropout here on the 20. Now then, will we see a special from Henry Paul? The spiralling kick, angle low, especially on a wet surface like this. It wouldn't surprise me if he goes for the special. Boomerang, he calls it. No, he's gone for the depth.
Right, no penalties, fellas. Tackles down.
And Warrington will run it back in the shape of Jerome Guisset.
Okay, tackle one, stand out.
Has become quite clear now, Eddie, that because it's very slippy out there, that the side who respect the possession will come away with the spoils. I think both coaches will be aware of that.
And Mark Gleeson gets the ball away to Steve McCurry.
Make sure you're scared, Daniel, otherwise don't get involved.
And in these conditions, of course, this is where the forward pack has to stand up and be counted. Oh, great dummy.
Lovely run from Nick Howe, and he brought Toa Koilov onto it. Could play the ball to Mercer, not the best pass, but Marcella hangs on. McDermott takes him low down. Oh, he's got him for the flop now. Paul Anderson.
Paul, your miles too late. Right, flop.
Well, this is kickable.
Well, he didn't really need to do that, did he? I mean, that was just a complete and utter waste of time by the big fella, Paul Anderson. Attempted one further out, so obviously they'll go for the 2 points on offer here. Well, he's wondering when his side is going to start combining and playing as a team. He knows it's not going to be easy against this Warrington outfit, who are playing with a lot of enthusiasm, and their defence is pretty solid. And maybe that word enthusiasm is something that Brian Noble might send the message down, and just a gentle kick up the backside for the Bradford Bulls.
Well, they've lost at Wigan and St Helens, Wakefield, and they drew at Hull. And on 28 minutes, Rob Smythe with this kick to level the scores here at Wilderspool. It's 8-all.
Job well done.
Paul Derbyshire, 31 years of age. He takes over as caretaker coach today, the former under-21 international centre, assistant to Darryl van der Velde. But he must be, well, I don't know what's been said behind the scenes here, but he must be slightly concerned about his own future. Indeed, all the coaching staff must be, because new brooms generally tend to sweep clean, don't they?
I do agree with you on that one.
I hope not, because he's a good young British coach, is Paul Derbyshire.
Well, he's prepared his side very well. And it would be ironic, wouldn't it, if the Wolves could come up with, and let's face it, when we saw the team lineups, you'd have to say that Bradford were not just favourite, but odds on favourites.
Well, man for man, yeah, on paper, you'd probably give it to Bradford by a country mile, but these games in Super League these days aren't played on paper.
That's what I'm saying. He'll go away with a smile and the satisfaction. That's if they win. Well, Paul Derbyshire, but as Eddie mentioned, he could be out of a job tomorrow.
Well, I hope not. McAvoy for Bradford.
Not much room for sympathy in this professional sport these days.
Stand out. Well, no penalties, fellas. Don't piggyback. No penalties.
Robbie Paul. Michael Withers. Drops off the tackles there, Warrington, but it was desperation stuff from Paul Noon, and he's after Vicona as well. Good work from Paul Noon at the play the ball area. Lowe's, McDermott, wide to Robbie Paul, further wide to Rigon. And Paul had drifted round the backside and was looking for the flick out left. It didn't come. Forshaw.
50-50 ball, that one.
This is the last tackle for Bradford. Robbie Paul. Wide to McAvoy.
With a changeover.
Good defence from Rob Smythe.
It's been the key, that is for sure, and they're working hard. This Bradford outfit are very lethargic indeed.
You look at Warrington in this mood, and you remember what they did to Wigan, Saints and Leeds here, and you just wonder what on earth they're doing in the position they're in. Out of the playoff hunt altogether. Playing with such spirit and endeavour tonight. 8-all against the league leaders.
Well, if there were horses, Eddie, they would have been swabbed about 5 times this season.
You're right. Clark with a dab to the in-goal area, and it's just gone too long.
A good little effort there. You could see that Nathan McAvoy was completely out of position. And I'm just looking at the body language of this Bradford outfit. Well, they were walking back, they were strolling as though it was a sunny day in the park.
And instead of that, it's a cloudy, wet night in Wilderspool, and the Bulls, if they didn't know before they turned up, they know now. They're in for a scrap. Here's big Paul Anderson. That's a big hit on him by the youngsters, and they are leading the way. Gleeson and Noon really getting stuck in.
Oh, wonderful defence.
Such enthusiasm chasing the man, hounding him down. McCurry also, of course. Oh, but he gets the penalty now, this Forshaw. Noon had made the tackle, and then McCurry just all over him.
Come on, fellas, just clear it.
Well, he's got to clear the ruck straight away. He failed to do that, and he's paid the price.
Come on, no need for it.
But Brian Noble, the Bulls coach, must be wondering what on earth has happened to the table toppers.
He's down now, stand out, fellas.
More aggression, more effort is needed.
Lowe's will come this way. Anderson had an impressive match for England in midweek. Knock on though this time. Paul Anderson's mystified, but he's right.
Oh, it slipped backwards, he lost control. Slippy conditions, he was trying to, he just lost it, there was no interference. And yet another mistake. He looks pretty cool, but agitated underneath it, I'm sure. I think he'll have plenty to say when they're going for lemons.
That's good defence. Withers and Henry Paul picked up the man in possession, drove him back. It was Ian Sibbett.
That might lift their spirits. They needed something to spark them.
And they have, behind those posts, their army of supporters, the Bulls. There's Gary Mercer, who, by the way, began his career in Britain with Bradford in 1987. Been around a wee while. Oh, he's lost it, Nick out. McDermott's got it back for Bradford. Here's Lowe's. Henry Paul. Good defence again.
Nicow just couldn't keep control. As soon as the elbows hit the ground.
Robbie Paul back to Mike Forshaw, and he's lost it. Well, Sean McRae penned the term a knock-on-a-thon. And that's what we've got so far.
Well, I mentioned 2 or 3 hours ago we really had a massive thunderstorm here. There were pools of water all over the ground. Well, that certainly is not a help in the cause.
Big hit on Noon there by Anderson in his back. He was turned around. Gleeson, the dummy half, and Clark went for the 40-20. No doubt this time that there is no question it's not a 40-20.
Just playing the percentage stuff, and that's all they need to do. Vicona just lifts the right leg, lets it going, but it ain't all. And if he keeps control of the game like he has done in the first 34 minutes, the confidence must be lifting in this Warrington outfit.
John Clark with a little bit of experience under the belt. He came, of course, to Warrington from London, and he was in the Wigan side that won the 1997 final at Old Trafford. So he has been around a bit, even though he's only 22 years of age, and an inspired signing, it must be said, by Darrell van der Velde. And McAvoy has lost it now.
Well, they're going through the horrors. It was an awful pass to start with. From Henry Paul, McAvoy, and it was deliberately knocked down, I felt, by Koa Love. But in these conditions, it's difficult for the officials now to say one way or the other. Early in the tackle count, yet again. Well, the completion, sets of 6 have been poor from both sides, but especially from Bradford.
McCurry, Gartner and Mackay. McCurry trying to milk the penalty. Gleeson. This is Noon again. The handling error count is mounting, particularly for Bradford. Gleeson again, comes left, finds McCurry, further left to Hunt, wide it goes to Sibbett, good tackle by Kona. Gleeson again, John Clark, another dab with the left foot, off the feet of Anderson and gobbled up by Brian McDermott.
Again, the option was right in these conditions. No point in utilising the high kick. Keep it low, and that's what Clark's doing. Anderson just got a foot to it eventually.
Now by Kona. Tries to run straight through Gleeson, but Gleeson and Noon, they have added a little bit of youthful exuberance to this Warrington side. There's another mistake. It's pressure from Warrington, as well as the conditions.
Should have taken that big fella, Brian McDermott. Just slightly behind him, and yet another mistake, and yet early in the tackle count. And there's a lot of sledging going out there as well. The Warrington players are having plenty to say to their opposites.
Oh, it's a tough battle that Bradford are in here.
Both sides.
There's no doubt about that. 8-all and 3 minutes to half-time. Warrington with head and feet at this scrum. Can they turn round with the scoreline in their favour? Clark to Penny, operating at full-back for the first time in a long while today. Lee Penny swapped places with Alan Hunt. Here's Gary Mercer, another inspired signing this year, and another penalty.
Another flop. Well, they'll go for the 2 points again. They'll be quite happy with this. Silly play by McAvoy. Tackle was already completed. Well, you add the lack of discipline to the mistakes that the Bulls have produced in this first half. And there's no good looking at the official Stuart Cummings and appealing to him. If the tackle is completed, you're supposed to get out of the way, not try to launch a right hand underneath. And I think he's boiling inside. The gas is turned up high, and we'll hear the whistle soon.
2 minutes to the half-time siren.
And when that siren goes, I think Bill Arthur better get out of the way, because Brian Noble may rush straight past him. In fact, might run right over him. Get into the dressing room, because he'll have plenty to say, and rightly so.
Rob Smythe then to give Warrington a 2-point lead at half-time. He's missed it again. That's his second miss. Paul Derbyshire waiting to issue the team talk. He will be doing that today. Steve Anderson will be having a watching brief.
There we are.
And down he goes. Just waits the top of the stairs. He'll be well pleased with his 40 minutes work. Guisset to run it back for Warrington. Oh, he's dropped it now.
Well, we'll just have time to get the scrum down. Good impact.
Bind in, fellas. Time off. Right, we'll take the time off while they're not here.
Referee has stopped the clock, even though Warrington are plodding to this scrum.
Well, you can see the three-quarters on the Bradford lineup are well back, so they're certainly doing a planned move here.
Henry Paul showed it to Mackay, showed it as well to Naylor, took the tackle from Sibbett. Henry Paul gets to his feet. There's a Warrington player injured. Mackay at the back door to Withers.
Get up!
Last 30 seconds of the first half. Penalty, Bradford. It's very untidy.
I think it's Lee Penny that's receiving treatment there.
It is.
T.
Maybe just caught a stray boot as Henry Paul tried to get to his feet.
Put someone in the bin if we're not going to sort it out. Right, tell them.
All over the place, all over the shop.
Time on, please.
Alan Hunt, the culprit. And this will be somewhat of a relief for the Bulls.
Yes,
to actually go in with a lead at half-time. It'll be against all the odds, because this Warrington side have bossed it in the first 40.
This will be the last kick, I think, of this first half. Lee Penny is going off, and I think it's going to be a blood bin. I think he caught a stray stud there from Henry Paul, who is lining up this penalty attempt, which would give Bradford a 2-point lead at half-time. And he's got it, and Bradford have the advantage. There's the siren. That's the first half. Brian Noble's team have played, well, not up to their usual standard. Warrington have raised their game against them. Now, is it Bradford who are playing badly, or is it Warrington who have really lifted and rocked the league leaders out of their stride? Something for us to discuss at half-time, because it's pretty tight at the break. Warrington 8 and Bradford 10. A try apiece, and Henry Paul with the boot, just being a little more successful than Rob Smythe. 10-8, Bradford at the half-time siren.
Sky Sports next season.
Would you believe it?
Big names, big games.
Martha Stewart.
Even more Premiership football with 66 live games in all on Sky Digital.
Fantastic!
And there's more.
Oh my goodness.
More big names. And another 40 big games on Sky Digital with Premiership Plus on Sky Box Office. Order your Premiership Plus season ticket now.
Harry Kill.
At just £60 a special price for Sky Sports subscribers.
Phillips is there. Janssen. Cole.
For more information and to upgrade to Sky Digital, call 0870 240 2000.
And if anyone knows of any good reason why these two people should not be joined in matrimony, will they speak now?
Yes. Stop. What are you doing? This bride is not ready yet. She needs to evolve for at least a couple of million years. Haven't you guys ever heard of Darwin? Look, you rushed things. Not so good. Now the Grolsch is brewed slowly. Very good. Isn't that right, my foreign friend?
Grolsch, we only let you drink it when it's ready.
Key news! We go live to a man over 50 who unlocked his pension.
'Cause I'm over 50, Barclay Jacobs unlocked my pension and got me tax-free cash.
Wow! So, if you're over 50 and have a pension you are not currently receiving, call 0800 44 88 88.
You could get a tax-free cash sum and or a pension now or later.
Now the outlook.
The long-term forecast is brilliant.
Call Barclay Jacobs on 0800 44 88 88 for your free information guide.
Every day across Britain, accidents devastate lives. In the past, many injured people suffered in silence, but now they have a voice, a way to get justice and compensation. Already, over 600,000 people have asked Claims Direct for free advice after they've been injured in accidents. At work, on the road, even trips or falls anywhere. With Claims Direct, you'll get your own claims manager and specialist solicitor to help fight your case. We also arrange a barrister's opinion and expert medical advice. With access to over 5,000 professionals, we're dedicated to winning you compensation. Remember, if we don't win your claim, you don't pay us a penny. So, when accidents happen, let Claims Direct help put the pieces back together again. If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, speak to Claims Direct now. Dial 0800 970 7108, and we could tell you within minutes if you have a claim. One call does it all. That's 0800 970 7108. Call now.
No, I can't be sure.
What? He sat opposite the getaway car for 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, the getaway car. Air conditioning, alloy wheels, electric windows.
And the driver?
No.
Oh.
The Rover 25. More extras make a better impression.
Here at Wilderspool in the Super League, Warrington 8, Bradford Bulls 10, half-time. And Robbie and Henry with all the points for Bradford, Gleeson with the try for Warrington, and Smythe with a couple of goals. And there's Paul Derbyshire in the Warrington Wolves dressing room. And a highly satisfying 40 minutes from him from a scoreline point of view, I think. Although maybe had Smythe kicked the goals, it would have been even more favourable for Warrington than it is now. But the league leaders are a little bit out of sorts on the evidence of that first 40 minutes. Brian Noble with his back to us. And I don't think he's terribly impressed. He was quite animated, you might have seen on Tuesday night when he was in the England dressing room against Wales, and he's giving them the rounds of the kitchen there by the looks of things. And a shake of the head, and no wonder, because it's not been a terribly convincing performance from his Bradford Bulls. He will be delighted that he's turned round by 10 points to 8 leaders. But Steve-O, not what we would expect from a team with 35 points and hunting the top spot.
No, it has come as somewhat as a big surprise in that first 40 minutes. When you look at the team lineups, they were odds-on favourites, but the weather can bring everything down to a certain level, and that's what Warrington have realised. Their kicking game is good, their defence is very, very good, and they are playing just simple, basic rugby league football. Bradford, they're trying to squeeze the ball around far too often. It could have all been so different, though, couldn't it, when McAvoy raced into the corner. But look at this tackle from Lee Penny. Wonderful effort there. And I mentioned through that first half commentary is that if Bradford don't seem to get the roll on early, then they seem somewhat confused. This was a beautiful kick from Clark. Okay, they got the ricochet, and Gleeson, who has been playing very well indeed, scored the try, and it was the two Pauls that picked it up. No fluke in that at all. They certainly play for that sort of effort. They practice that at the training ground. And I'm sure that Brian Noble will have plenty to say, mainly due to the fact that, hey, come on, I think they call them the awesome foursome, these big guys in the Bradford Bulls pack. Well, they haven't been awesome in that first 40 minutes. They've got to work hard. Roll the sleeves up and good old-fashioned rugby league football. Nothing fancy, just get on with the job. Work.
Well, it's a four-letter word, isn't it? Work, and I'm sure that is top of Brian Noble's agenda in that dressing room right now. Wonder what Phil Clark has made of all of this. Phil, you know, here we go again. We're talking about Warrington and Bradford, obviously, but Warrington, I mean, they play like this one week and they can be dreadful the next.
Yeah, I suppose on one hand their fans must be quite pleased with the half-time score, and the others completely confused that they can't do it against some of the lower sides. And if you think back to the Challenge Cup semi-final, they held the Bradford Bulls for 60 minutes, but ultimately it was the power really of the Bradford pack, and in particular one Paul Anderson, who made a telling difference with a breakdown in the middle of the field that broke the hearts of the Warrington players. There's been constant rain throughout the first half, and we've seen the number of handling errors escalate. That rain's now stopped, but it still might be a tactic to kick earlier in the tackle count, because neither side's been able to hold on to the ball, put the ball deep into your opponent's half and try and force an error really. No tries have come from long range, and I think one of the disappointments maybe for Bradford, an early break from Nathan McAvoy on this side of the field from 40 metres. Great defence from Lee Penny, but Bradford is a team of their skill and standards really should have put some points on the board, and really from that early days they never really asserted the dominance, and Warrington fed off the apathy I think in the Bradford side.
Well, Phil, you know, there's been 21 mistakes, 12 for Bradford and 9. We expected those in those conditions, but in these wet conditions, your forwards have got to work. You're an old forward. You know that they've got to really up it in the second half, haven't they, the Bradford side?
Yeah, if Warrington are winning in one department, I think it's enthusiasm, and in particular in the middle of the field, forwards have worked tremendously hard. Gleeson, although he's a small guy, throwing himself in front of Bradford defenders. And you've talked about Paul Derbyshire, he seems to have done a great job in lifting his side during a difficult week. You talk about whether his job's in doubt. Well, actually, from what I can gather, he does about 3 jobs here. He works so hard, and I think a club like Warrington would be foolish to allow him to go.
I will say here to that, but I don't think that Phil would be terribly impressed either with you calling him an old forward. Never mind. We will move on now to the man of the match, and who's going home with the watch tonight? That's what goes home with the man of the match. What goes to you watching at home? The chance to win a couple of Super League Grand Final tickets. It's the usual manner of things on our Sky Sports Live Super League games. The numbers 09009 10 10 13 15 50 92 35 56 in the Republic of Ireland. 2 Grand Final tickets for Old Trafford October the 13th, and the winners, as always, into the draw to win the box at the Theatre of Dreams on the night. It's getting ever closer now, isn't it? And Bradford have got one eye on the Grand Final. They're ahead here by 10 points to 8. And if you need any detail about the world of rugby league, just join us on that website, www.skysports.com. If you want to make any comment about the game, about our programmes, our email address, rugbyleague@skysports.com. Well, it's been error-strewn, And I must say, after last night's Lord Mayor's show at the Jungle, this really hasn't lived up to pre-match billing. Maybe we will get something better in the second half. It's tight as a drum.
The new Volvo S60. It's not just a new shape, it's a whole new world.
Wherever she goes.
Power source identified.
Whatever she does.
Power source identified.
Her adventures are powered by Ericsson.
Power source identified.
Get your Tomb Raider gift pack featuring the Ericsson T20 exclusively through 1-to-1. And see Tomb Raider in theatres this summer.
Every day across Britain, accidents devastate lives. In the past, many injured people suffered in silence, but now they have a voice, a way to get justice and compensation. Already, over 600,000 people have asked Claims Direct for free advice after they've been injured in accidents. At work, on the road, even trips or falls anywhere. With Claims Direct, you'll get your own claims manager and specialist solicitor to help fight your case. We also arrange a barrister's opinion and expert medical advice. With access to over 5,000 professionals, we're dedicated to winning you compensation. Remember, if we don't win your claim, you don't pay us a penny. So, when accidents happen, let Claims Direct help put the pieces back together again. If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, speak to Claims Direct now. Dial 0800 970 7108, and we could tell you within minutes if you have a claim. One call does it all. That's 0800 970 7108. Call now.
Did you see my bag? It was right under my seat.
What do you mean?
My bag has gone. I can't believe this.
Well, it must be around here somewhere.
Everything is in there. Oh, it's gonna
Waiter.
ruin our holiday. I put everything in there. My purse, your wallet.
Oh.
Okay, let me think. I had it when I walked in. I put it down. Now it's gone.
What did it look like?
Okay, here's a white bag. It's about like this.
Take traveller's checks from a worldwide organisation that can replace them within 24 hours. American Express traveller's checks. Don't leave home without them.
I hate shopping. I detest shopping.
Hiya, Tom.
I was born to shop. I had wheels on my feet and a handle across my back. I'll take that one there. This one, Tom. If I shop, I'm going to Asda.
There you go, Tom.
I can get a takeaway, a jacket, a CD, pizzas for the kids. It may not seem important to some people, but because I shop at Asda, I can cut an hour off, get everything I need under one roof and get out. That's the whole point of it.
I literally woke up one morning and said, hey, where's my joy?
Through the Haagen-Dazs Sensual Eating program, you can find that joy.
At first I felt ridiculous, but enjoying pleasure is a life skill.
Pleasure is the path to joy.
The fridge opened, but it was me who filled up with light.
He found his joy. You can too.
The bottom of the tub, I found my smile.
Pleasure is the path to joy.
Sky's current analog service is closing down soon.
I don't want to press you, bud, but we're running out of time here.
You can upgrade to Sky Digital, and you don't have to be left in the dark.
Okay, come on in. Your work is done. We're losing contact right about now.
Bradford with the best attack in terms of tries and points, and the best defence in terms of tries and points conceded as well. Up against Warrington, who are brilliant one week, awful the next, and tonight are playing very, very competently indeed.
Positive kick-off there, but well taken by the big fella Graham Mackay. Well, you did mention there that Brian Noble animated indeed, and it does surprise me that The Bradford coach still goes into the games without Paul Deacon. He is such an influential field kicker, and we saw in that first half that John Clark for Warrington certainly control things out there, and I don't think Bradford are the same without Paul Deacon. Well, not as effective.
Maybe so, but perhaps Paul Deacon just carrying a slight knock after the England match in midweek against Wales, because both he and Price and also Anderson, they have been on the bench, and Lee Radford on the bench from that match in midweek. Deacon, though, rested today by Brian Noble. Well, we're in the second minute of this second half. Wonder what was said by the two coaches at half-time. Fancy Paul Derbyshire might have been the happier, even though he's trailing by 2 points. Bill?
Oh, I think so, Eddie. The Wolves caretaker coach, Paul Derbyshire, really delighted with the effort from his side in that first half, as was the new guy who'll take over shortly, Steve Anderson, who sat in on Paul Derbyshire's half-time talk and emerged from the dressing room and told me he was very impressed with what he'd seen from this Warrington side, and just looking for them to continue this effort, and maybe they can pull off a surprise. As you've mentioned, Brian Noble in that Bulls dressing room at half-time, very animated. He wasn't happy with his side. Well, he was happy with the defensive effort, but going forward, the Bulls were a big disappointment, and they're looking in this second half to complete their sets of 6 and get to the kick, because this ball is still very greasy. It might have stopped raining, but it's very slippery out there. It's a difficult ball to handle in these conditions, so look for the Bulls to work to the kick and try and expose the Wolves' defence on that.
Well, they're on halfway now. They just cross into Warrington territory with 4 short of Gartner, but this scrambling Warrington defence continues in the same vein as it did in the first half. They're really getting into the faces of the Bulls, and it's lifting the spirits on the terraces.
And this Frenchman, Jérôme Guisset, is leading the way.
Well played by David Alstead.
What's the change like? Pretty good. They're there in numbers.
Well, if you look now at this Warrington side, they've got Alstead of 19, Gleeson of 19, they've got Sibbett of 20, they've got Paul Wood and Gary Hulse, 21. Paul Wood is 19 as well, so there is a lot to be enthusiastic about for the future. It's probably the dawn of a new era for Warrington. They have certainly got a lot of recruiting to do for next year. There's no doubt about that.
Well, they've spent big over the past couple of seasons, haven't they? And to be fair, Eddie, it really hasn't worked out for them. And
John Clark there is only 22 as well.
And he's come trail in this game. Well, the responsibility on John Clark's shoulders. Well, it can go one way or the other. It can really lift your game, or it can go against you, and he's certainly lifted. And just basic rugby league football. And as I mentioned at half-time, that when it's slippery conditions, nothing fancy. It's just hard work will win you the points.
Well, they are working hard, and their right hand Withers has come up with another mistake, and they're really working hard, Warrington, tonight. This is Smythe into the arms here of Noon. And Gartner and McDermott. There's the mistake from Withers. That's why Warrington have got the ball back, why they're in possession here.
And yet again, that's number 13, 12 in the first half. They come up with another one, and again it was very early in the tackle count. It's becoming a nightmare now for Brian Noble.
Gleeson to Clark, a lovely dab through looking for Hunt. Vicona sweeps up, gets the ball away to Withers.
But they scramble back yet again. Well, this fella, Mark Gleeson, playing the hooking role for Warrington. Talk about putting your body on the line. He has tackled his heart out.
This is Mackay, and he slips the net for the first time. That's better.
Well, that's about the first time we've seen any Bradford player run onto the football at pace.
Well, Warrington have got the sniff of something here for the second year in a row.
Hands out, John, hands out. Here we go.
Lowe's the dummy half. Forshaw. On to Lowe's again. Wide then to Naylor. Naylor dabs it down the touchline, asking Vicona to chase. Penny back out of the blood bin, picks it up.
Move out. No follows, no penalties.
Hurt again there, Lee Penny. This is Ian Sibbett, cut down by the challenge from McDermott. Nothing fancy tonight, is there? Nothing fancy from either side. It's just good, hard, honest endeavour. And remember, Warrington without their star man, Lee Breers, injured for Wales in midweek after having a sensational match that pushed him into contention for Great Britain honours later this year. Nick Howe has taken over Breers' standoff role, and he finds touch again. It's simple, as you say, Steve-O. It's basic. It's go through your sets and kick for territory, and that's what Nick Howe's done there.
Well, if the field resembles a bath and the ball becomes a soap, then you just do the basics right. And I'm sure that's what Paul Derbyshire would have said.
Sorry, Steve, I was just going to say, the man to the left of the screen there, next to Paul Derbyshire, Steve Anderson, well known to wear a Nick Howe from his days at Melbourne Storm. Forshaw has slipped the net of Mercer, and there are 6 players chasing him down, and Mercer got back to him eventually.
Just went a little bit too high, did Mercer there.
Mackay now. Coe Love does well. McAvoy's the dummy half. McDermott.
Now will we see running from Jimmy Lowes from half-back? We haven't seen it in the first half.
We're not seeing it yet. Henry Paul. Anderson. Paul to Paul. Shows it to 2. Gives it to Naylor. In touch. Great defence again. Ian Sibbett. There's no way through for Bradford. Warrington have got them rattled here.
Great defence, and the sliding defence just pushed him across. And once he offloaded there, Sibbett went over the top, Hunt underneath. That is a great team effort. Crunch time.
20 years of age. Debut against Wakefield 2 years ago, Ian Sibbett. Here's Alan Hunt, their leading try scorer, with 15 this year. And it's Bradford's turn to try and slow this play the ball down. Rigon and Anderson hunting there, with getting Mercer down.
It's all going to be down to the fact that take your opportunities and respect this possession. Both coaches, Derbyshire and Noble, quite happy with the defensive quality. So therefore, the opportunities few and far between.
Here's McCurry. Good run from Steve McCurry.
Effort.
With a capital E. Clark goes for the 40-20 again. But this time it bounces tamely into McAvoy's arms, but the chase from Warrington, and he's dropped that. Knock on.
Well, the nightmare continues, especially for this fella, Nathan McAvoy. And he lost it trying to get up, but the Frenchman was all over him. But he never really made any attempt, and he cannot believe it. And the Frenchman, ironic clap, and Brian Noble chews away. And how much chewing gum he gets through during the course of a full game, but he says it calms him down, Eddie.
And it keeps the newsagent in profits, I would imagine. Coe Love. Tackled by Naylor. Could have been penalised there, Naylor. Here's Ian Sibbett. Hit by Gartner. Well, I don't know what it's like to be a Warrington fan, but you never know what you're going to turn up and see at Wilderspool. There's no doubt about that. And they are really digging deep here tonight. Nick out with a dab through for Coe Love, but yes, too strong.
But again, the option is correct. And you've got to give Paul Derbyshire a huge pat on the back, because he has set the scene. He has offered them exactly what they needed out there. Good defence, good effort, work hard, and make sure the kick and chase is good. And it has been that, that's for sure. And it's going to take something extraordinary from this Bradford side to get through this defence. You see they're getting out of the blocks very quickly, and that's where Bradford have to perhaps change their tactics, get the big fellas running onto the football.
It's with Robbie Paul, and now Henry Paul back on the inside to Rigon. They're doing such a good job in keeping Bradford quiet. Henry Paul, Robbie Paul. Look at the wall of blue and yellow defenders ahead of them. Forshaw, they simply can't get over the advantage line, Bradford, and they do it with ease to so many others.
Well, they're still trying to compete with that flat, and that's too much.
Gartner, one too many bowls of cereal this morning, maybe.
Far too strong, but I mean, bitterly disappointed with the way that Bradford's forwards have played. They're still continuing on with this very flat attack, where the hooker, James Lowes, just takes a step, and it's a level ball that they get. And they really need a little bit more urgency in and around the play of the ball area. We've mentioned that Jimmy Lowes still hasn't run from dummy half yet. And I wouldn't be surprised if Brian Noble gets a message out and says to Robbie and Henry, hey, come on, get into the dummy half. Let's try to split their first and second marker.
Well, James Lowes, of course, not named in the Great Britain squad of 34, although the door remains open for every player in Super League. And certainly the ones who make it to the playoffs have the perfect platform to launch a bid for a Great Britain jersey.
Well, it didn't surprise me that it was omitted. He's not had the best of seasons.
John
Jimmy
Clark
Lowes
is kicking Bradford to death, turning them round at every opportunity. Basic stuff.
And not put under a lot of pressure either. Well, it must be so confusing for the Warrington fans. We keep mentioning the fact that they're 1 week up, next week down, third week flat out. And they are loving it. It's a wonderful band of support.
I was about to say, despite everything that's gone on this year, the Warrington crowd has stayed with the team.
They've been superb. Okay, there have been times when I'd like to shoot the drummer. And yet another mistake. This is not...
Taylor is not letting Hunt to his feet. The referee, I think, has got to start taking action. There's a lot of this going on.
Well, just the impact there.
Well, Warrington now with a golden opportunity. They're 10 metres away. They're lined up across the field. It's with Clark. On it goes. And that is Wood. Gleeson. Clark, good hands from Warrington.
Stand up, Mike, stand up.
It's now Bradford's turn to dig deep in defence. Guisset.
Boy, has he worked hard, the Frenchman. I mean, this virtually is a team of unknowns, especially from the bench from Warrington.
Clark. Lovely stab through. That's inventive. And that's lost, and that's a try. It's a try from McCurry. The try is given, and Warrington have the lead again. The little kick through is causing pandemonium in the Bradford defence.
And yet another mistake. The nightmare continues. Not at Old Street, but at Wilderspool for Bradford. Michael Withers really should have gobbled that up, and he knows it too. They are out of sorts. They are being completely outplayed. It was Wood that put the little kick through, then the mistake came. McCurry says, thank you very much. Boy, oh boy, they enjoyed that. Not much expression from Paul Derbyshire.
Well, he is from the Darrell van der Velde School of Coaching. And 99 tries now.
Well, I haven't seen Derbyshire try to wreck the box yet.
I mean, he doesn't smile terribly much during the course of a game. But
well, he should.
Steve Anderson did. And he must be well impressed with what he's seen here. Remember, a squad shorn of so many of its stars that were paraded at the start of the season. And Rob Smythe has added the extras.
Well, 50% at unknowns. And we mentioned it in the Wales versus England game last Tuesday that quite a few of the top stars, their egos were well and truly bruised. Well, this is a repeat. Paul Wood, the kick through, the mistake from Withers. A simple 4 points to this man. And boy, oh boy, the Warrington fans, they are lapping this up.
And Bradford restart. Just check down the list of the Warrington squad for 2001, and when you look down at the start of the year, although here come Bradford now after another mistake, this time from Warrington. They're in possession with Rigon. I'll come back to that point in a moment, because this is a golden opportunity for Bradford. Anderson to drive it in, but wonderful defence. Mercer leading the way, Guisset as well, and you can't take anything away from Gleeson. Robbie Paul, Henry Paul, charging onto it is Gartner, but three wait for him, and the trap is snared.
And he's lost it.
Another opportunity missed. Let me get back to that point. Look down the Warrington squad list for 2001, start of the year. Not here tonight. Kidwell, Breers injured, Langer retired, G retired, Heighton, Nutley, Walters, Georgialis. The list's almost endless. And yet this Warrington team are playing the match of their lives.
Well, they spent big time, didn't they? They went for the big stars. And to be fair, quite a lot of those big stars did not produce at the top level. And maybe the message is becoming quite clear. And maybe the message is becoming quite clear to quite a few clubs as well, that the junior development is a major, major part in our game. Give the young kids a chance. It looks like Price is coming off the bench.
Yes, and Henry Paul is the man who is withdrawn. Well, Leon Price wants to play standoff, he tells us, and here's his opportunity to prove what he's worth. It's now, though, with Warrington again and Paul Noon. There's Leon Price. Gleeson, Clark, McCurry. Gartner and Price with the tackle. McCurry, the recent try scorer. Here's Guisset.
Now this is where the 1 point could be important. And Nikau is a man that's got the experience. Surely he'll have got the word to him. Who will it take?
It's gone to Clark, who stabs it. Well, he stabbed it straight into the midriff of James Lowes. He spins away, gives it to Mike Forshaw. But this Warrington defence, well, they just will not be denied today.
Well, there's not much of this Mark Gleeson, the hooker from Warrington, but he has run himself to a standstill. He has tackled everything.
Well, he took a huge personal blow, didn't he, I suppose, when they brought John Clark north from London, and Gleeson has had to be very, very patient.
Well, there's not much of him, is there? But he goes low, he makes sure that he gets round the legs. There he is yet again.
Price with the kick. It's down the middle this time.
It's a good one too. And yet again, Eddie, it just emphasises that point that I was telling you about this Bradford side without Deacon.
Well, that was a little burst down the wing from David Alston. Oh, Gary Mercer's coughed it up. Here come Bradford now with Mackay. Great defence. Well, Mercer made the mistake, and Mercer made amends.
But why on earth did Bradford rush things? Why did they panic? It was Warrington that came up with a mistake. They should have made sure that possession was vital. Mercer coughs it up. What on earth is Robbie thinking to try to just get the ball on the blind side? They have not had much possession, and Mercer said, I came up with a mistake, I'm going to make up for it, and he does big time. B.I.G. Pressure, Mr. Noble.
Well, he will give the head and feet to Bradford for the first knock on. This is Price. Now Withers. Just slips before the challenge of Nikau. Radford has come on. He's dropped it, but it went back. Withers.
Well, when is somebody going to get to the backs of these Bradford forwards, wind them up and say, hey, come on, work. This is the first time we've seen any enthusiasm for a long time.
That was Vangenaar. This is Lowes. This is Forshaw. Forshaw disappears again. Every time there is a white shirt at the Warrington defence, there are 2 and 3 around him. Lowes.
That's his first time. First time that I can remember he's done that.
Last tackle here for Bradford. It's with Bradford. Now it's with Robbie Paul. A stab through. Withers is after it. Well picked up by Alan Hunt. Well cleared up.
He read it quite superbly. Pressure through Robbie Paul. Withers was lurking, but Hunt did as his name implies. He went for that, put his body on the line. Look at the dropout. Still not over yet, but they cling to a 4-point lead.
Well, we've reached the hour mark, and take your mind back to Huddersfield earlier in the year in that semi-final. It was the hour mark when Bradford started to click up a gear and clinch their place in the Challenge Cup final. Can they click up a gear here tonight and clinch their place with a 2-point lead at the top of the Super League? Brian Noble hopes so. He knows that points difference means they will be top anyway, but he wants the daylight between him and Wigan, because it's Leeds next weekend, and that is a tricky assignment. This is a tricky assignment.
Here we go.
It never looked likely on paper, but Warrington have given them the fright of their lives. Gardner almost round Sibbett, but Sibbett stuck to his guns. Robbie Paul again. Back it goes to Naylor. They're just trying to outmuscle this Warrington defence, and to be fair to Warrington, they're standing firm. Knock on there, little fiddle, I'm sure. Referee's got it. Referee's got it eventually.
Well, they were fortunate there with Warrington, because I don't think they were standing square at the play of the ball. But this is a knock-on, just a little one. Gardner, second rower made the error. That's it. But as you could see, the first and second marker, they were virtually stood at the side of each other. They're not complaining. What an effort this has been by the Warrington Wolves.
Well, time for your votes now for man of the match. You know the telephone number's off by heart by now, and give us your view. And you could be off to the grand final on the 13th of October. Warrington won't be there. Bradford hope they will be, but Warrington are giving a lesson to the rest in Super League how to take the Bulls on. Look at them swarming round the ball carrier. It's Vicona this time. Such enthusiasm, such determination. They're showing plenty of guts tonight, Warrington.
Effort. We keep saying it, but they're working as a team, and Bradford look completely lost out there.
Three, with me. Come on.
And we still get back to that point that if they don't get a roll on, they don't start charging through, they seem to go back into their shell to Bradford, but they've got a chance here. And again, superb defence.
Ian Sibbett with that tackle. Here is Robbie Paul. Nearly broke through, but Guisset again. A little dab by Lowe's. Olsted's after it. Olsted does well.
Great kick though from the hooker, James Lowe's. He's come alive. And Olsted read it, got across, did the right thing. Well weighted by the hooker. The youngster was equal to it.
It's a huge step up from the Alliance and the Academy League to Super League, but Olsted, Paul Wood, Paul Noon,
they've done
and
themselves
also
proud.
Mark Gleeson, they have.
Okay, stay behind.
They've done their future prospects no harm whatsoever. And the goal line dropouts, Warrington, 3 of them, Bradford, just the 1. So pressure is on the Warrington Wolves.
And the sun has come out, and that means that the kicking game may change from Warrington. Bradford playing into this very strong sun at the moment, so maybe instead of the grubber kicks we've seen in the first half, they'll revert to the high kick. It will be a problem for Bradford.
This is Graham Mackay. Good tackle there by Rob Smythe, low down. Now then, Robbie Paul. Michael Withers. Withers attacking the line. Again they scramble into the ground. Last one for Bradford. Leon Price stabs it through.
It's not done anyway. Not done anyway. No. It's not done in goal. Still a drop kick.
Knocked on in the in-goal area by the Warrington man, so it's a dropout.
Leon Price, not the best kick, but got away with it. Ricocheted all over the place. There was the knock-on from David Olsted. Well, they've been put under pressure, but they still cling to those 4 points. 4 vital points as well. Hopefully for Paul Derbyshire's sake that this will be a pretty deep kick. But the kick and chase from Warrington today has been outstanding.
Vanganar collects it and back he comes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. 5 players converging on Vanganar then as he drove that ball forward.
And yet again we see Bradford quite happy just to do this flat attack.
Well, Warrington have conceded 107 tries this year. Prior to today, they've just conceded 1 so far to the league leaders. Here is Gilmore now. And if they had defended like this from day 1, Warrington would be in the shake-up for the 5 themselves.
And have a guess who was at the bottom of that pile, and they come up with a mistake. It was the youngster Mark Gleeson. Mistake. Rate continues. And the Warrington fans behind the post that Bradford are attacking are giving this Bulls outfit a real burn. Not a happy bunny.
Ryan Noble's face tells its own story, doesn't it?
Well, they've been lacklustre, and they've been made to look lacklustre because of this Warrington defence. It has just been outstanding. And I'm as absolutely bemused as you, Eddie, in regards to the fact, why couldn't they have done this the entire season?
Well, they have the potential to be top 5. There's no doubt about that. And they had the stars to take them there this year. But it just hasn't come right. A number of reasons off the field, I suppose, why, but at the end of the day...
Well, it's the youth that's showing the way in this particular game. They have found a self-belief, and as Eddie has mentioned, all the young kids out there completely outshining the star-studded outfit in the white.
And there's another one of them, Paul Wood, Robbie Paul and Joe Vanganar. Here now is Clark, shaped to kick, or dropped it, and gets the ball away. Little break in play then.
It'll be on the last one of the changeover.
We can take our eyes off it for a second. Let's go down to Phil Clark. Phil, scratch your head, tell me where on earth this performance has come from Warrington again, will you?
Well, I don't know myself, but you talk about the effort they've put in. They're going to have to put an effort on an effort here, because the amount of defending they're doing in their own half. Remember, 3 goal line dropouts within the last 10 minutes, and now even more added pressure from the Bradford side. If they pull one off, it'll be a special effort, although Bradford have been flat from the very start. Anyone who's watched the Tether Super League this year will see what marvellous rugby they play at times, but here they're not really with it today. Can Warrington hang on? It really is, I think, a fascinating situation for Brian Noble's side to be in, and I think if he does come out of this, he'll think that his side benefit from it. We see St Helens come back from this sort of a position so often, and yet it's not a position that the Bradford Bulls have found themselves in. Come to playoff time in the year, you need to know whether your side can win out a tough game away from home.
Well, that would be a worry for Bradford, Steve-O, because at home they're, well, imperious. They are 100%
Oh, one against the head.
I can't believe that. Withers. Oh, Nick Howe.
What a
lined him up. Smack.
I'm still stunned about that one against the head.
Robbie Paul.
There was a hooker in there, James Lowes, who actually used his leg.
Well, he made the mistake that led to the scrum feed for Warrington. There's Gilmore, and Bradford rather, and Bradford inching ever closer to the line. Gartner, again terrific defence. Civic low down, Hunt over the top. Naylor, back it goes to Vanganar. Pushed Nico out the way. Has he got it over? No. Referee says he's short. Lowe's.
Oh, he's taken out there. Was he taken out? He's ignored it as the official Stuart Cummins. The Bradford players, they're screaming, and he's knocked on. What's happened here? He says play on.
That's okay.
Well, didn't he? Well, I thought he dropped the ball.
That's all right.
Well, the referee Stuart Cummins is saying that's all right.
Of course you can. You can kick it any way you like.
Well, that's a kick through. Now then, did Nick out grab the ball? Or did,
here we go.
He's allowed to kick it forward.
Well, that was the incident on the goal line where I think it was Mercer who tackled without the ball, tackled James Lowes without the ball.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. and yet it was completely wiped away by the official. Controversial decision here from Stuart Cummings. James Lowes definitely was taken out.
Well, they're talking about the James Lowes is not happy.
Well, he's smiling is Stuart Cummings.
Jimmy isn't.
Right, let's go, fellas.
He's every right. I mean, look at this.
Here we go, let's go.
Watch
Get on,
Mercer.
get in.
If that is not obstruction, then what on earth is? You haven't got time to build a wall. Bit of sand and cement under the posts.
Now then, there's a break at last. And Robbie Paul! Alan Hunt's after him now. Great tackle again.
Tremendous stuff there from Hunt.
Gartner, Withers, Bradford will score.
Too many numbers out wide eventually.
Well, talk about breathe a sigh of relief. Lee Radford, only his second try of the year. A try on his England debut on Tuesday. And of course, the Bradford goal kicker off the field, Henry Paul.
Good work. Back on the inside, Robbie, but Alan Hunt, he had the speed. Took him out, but they were always going to be struggling. Hunt tried his damnedest to slow things down. Ball out wide, and Radford, what a vital try. Have they just snatched it late in the game? Radford with a try. Controversy only moments before that, when Lowes was taken out. Maybe the scales of justice have balanced out.
Well, Lee Radford has only scored 2 tries all year for Bradford. Prior to this week, it was 1. He scored on Tuesday, he scored tonight, 2 tries in 5 days, like a Bradford boss. 14 apiece. This kick from Withers, Henry Paul off the field. This kick vital, and Warrington know it, and so do the crowd. They're doing their best to put him off. Deep breath from Withers.
He's slipped, and he's missed. His non-kicking foot went from underneath him.
14 all at Wilderspool.
Well, Brian Noble knows that even the 1 point will be sufficient to keep them at the top of the Super League table. Certainly slipped on the run in there from Michael Withers, but the try scorer Radford.
Well, Michael Withers has never kicked a place goal before Lee Radford with the try, but Withers, maybe that's the reason why, that he's never kicked a place goal for Bradford before. He's kicked a drop goal, but never one off the kicking tee, and Henry has returned.
Well, now then, the field goal comes into play, doesn't it?
Just a bit. And Warrington Hunt the mistake.
Well, to be fair, Brian Noble realises that he had to get the kicker out there for the vital last few minutes.
Come on.
And it's Warrington now that have to soak up the punishment. They've got to make sure that they don't give away silly penalties.
Well, the kick has got to be good here from Price.
40-20. Will he get it?
No. Olstead stops that. Well, who's your man of the match? Who is your man of the match? 09009 1010 13 UK 1550 92 35 56 Republic of Ireland. Well, take your pick tonight. Alan Hunt looking for the penalty. It never came from the whistle of Stuart Cummings. Mercer has been immense for Warrington.
3. Here we go.
It's been a tremendous effort from this Warrington outfit.
Careful, Henry.
They've played as a unit. The kicking game from John Clark has been outstanding.
Hands up, Jim.
And Nick Howe has played one of the games of his life for Warrington.
He sure has. They should have been absolutely pulverised against the skills of the two Paul brothers. They have. It's been the other way around. The two halfbacks have bossed it, and yet again the kick. They'll be happy with that, hoping that Bradford will come up with a mistake.
Thumbs up from Paul Derbyshire. Just what the doctor ordered.
Percentage game.
I wonder if Paul Derbyshire has coached his way into a future at Warrington. I certainly hope so. And I hope Steve Anderson agrees.
Let's go, fellas. Come on, let's go.
Well, if there's any sense, we'll make sure that he's kept at the club.
Heads in. Stay in
If he can prepare a side like this against the table toppers, you shouldn't let him go.
No, 31 years of age, Paul Derbyshire, a bright young thing on the British coaching scene, and that's the important word, British.
Make the line.
And yet again, that young kid, Mark Gleeson, he must be black and blue. Everything that's come near him, he's just chopped down.
But they've hunted in 2s, 3s and 4s whenever the men in white have had the ball. Robbie Paul.
Look at that, yet again, so flat, nobody running, no working.
And no progress made. It's the 5th and last for Bradford. They can't get near the Warrington post to go for the drop goal. Price hoists the bomb. Now then, here's a test for young Olstead. Oh, I tell you what, the academy has produced a few stars for Warrington tonight. Where have they been all year?
Well, they've never had the opportunity because the so-called stars were not allowing them the opportunity to be selected.
Well, I tell you what, they have...
This is a great advert for our game and for our youngsters within our game as well.
It's a real, well, you would call it an arm wrestle, wouldn't you? It really is.
Well, we knew it was going to be in the situation because it was wet out there. The side that respected possession most and took their chances would finish up. And really, Warrington don't deserve to lose this game.
And Clark has kicked for the touchline and turned them round again. He's kicked them to death.
What an unbelievable game.
4 minutes to go. Well, it looks to me like the happier of the coaching duos are Messrs Anderson and Derbyshire. Hasn't been a smile yet from Brian Noble, and he's one of the most affable coaches in Super League. Now then, here is Withers.
Well, if the Bulls sneak a point here, Brian Noble will be on his knees and saying thank you very much indeed, because they didn't deserve to get a point. All right, they took their opportunity. The break from Robbie Paul resulted in Radford's try. They bounced back. They dug deep when they needed it. But it's been all Warrington for me. It has been an outstanding effort.
Leon Price, support.
He got it right. The referee has got it absolutely spot on. He was in the correct position. He shakes his head.
Well, I would be with Leon Price. The body language.
Forward.
Well, from that angle, yes. Look at it now.
Let's go.
Right, forward.
Let's go. Close.
Oh, well.
It went forward.
All right. It's a democracy. I'm allowed my opinion. So is Stuart Cummins, so is you.
But you've just seen it black and white 3 times. You went, oh, maybe, and yes.
Okay, tackle 1, hands out.
Well, I've got colour on my set. I don't know what you've got on yours. I suppose you only pay the...
So pedantic, aren't you?
Lovely ball. Warrington, away, here he goes.
He's in.
He is. It's Rob Smythe. Rob Smythe could have won this. Rob Smythe could have won this for Warrington.
How's he going?
One of the great wins of Warrington's season. They have taken on the top 4 here. David Blanche gives Paul Derbyshire a well-deserved pat on the back. They've beaten Wigan here. They've beaten Saints. They've beaten Leeds. They're about to do Bradford.
They took the option on the short side on one of the rare occasions that Koilov has shaken off the defence, and Smythe had too much speed for Withers. That is a sensational try, well deserved. Probably the first real break that Koilov has got away, and the speed merchant Smythe. Look at the fans going absolutely bananas in the background. This has been an epic. What a finish to a game. Okay, it hasn't been sprinkled with ultra skills. We never knew we'd get that. We knew it was going to be difficult with mistakes. And what a time for Paul Derbyshire, and reflect What has gone on before you, Mr. Noble? All the stars in the world, sometimes when you need effort and digging deep is insufficient, and the looks on the faces says it all. We are not the invincibles that perhaps we thought we were.
Rob Smythe to try and add the extras to his 4. He's missed. I think that might be purely academic. Well, haven't we seen the depth of the Super League this year, this weekend on Sky Sports? Bradford look like they're going to be beaten here at Warrington. Castleford beat the Saints last night. Who says it's a 2-horse race?
Guys, make sure you stay behind.
Well, I often said that Brian Noble would be on his knees saying thank you, we've got 1 point out of it.
Take a bow, Paul Derbyshire. Short kick-off from Bradford. They've got a minute and a half left. And they're going to get the possession back with Robbie Paul. It's not won yet. It's not won yet. This is Vicona. Oh, Naylor's dropped it. It's one of those nights.
It's all over now. They will be dropping like flies. There'll be cramp appearing in every pair of Warrington's legs. And the pass from Vicona back on the inside to Naylor. Little bit high, but perhaps he should have got it. Big crash there with Steve McCurry, and Naylor has felt that. It'll be runs from dummy half, up the jumper. I'm injured, I'm slow, I've got to get to, oh, my legs are tired. Everything in the book against the rules and try. Doesn't matter, it has been a sensational victory, fully deserved.
This is Mercer, amazing. They've taken on the top 4 here at Wilderspool this year, and they've beaten them all. And McCurry doing exactly what you said. The referee calls time off.
Big grin on the face of McCurry. Said, oh, well, I thought I got away with it. Well, he did for about 4 seconds.
15 seconds remaining. The kick.
Oh, that'll be head and feet to Bradford.
No, it's to Warrington.
Oh, it's all over now. They're celebrating. They're not even going to put the pack down. They're still celebrating. Stuart Cummings is sat there and stood there and saying, if you don't want to bother, I'll wait for the hotel. It's gone.
What a win. What a win for Warrington. Rob Smythe's try sealed it in the end. They're dancing on the field. They're dancing on the terraces. And everybody in rugby league scratches their heads and says, what on earth Warrington are doing this year? They are the unpredictables of Super League 6. Lightning does strike twice. Remember last year, Warrington have beaten the Bulls again here. And take a bow, Paul Derbyshire, the caretaker coach of the Warrington Wolves. He's with Bill now.
Paul, you look very, very calm, but I bet inside you're absolutely bubbling, aren't you?
Bubbling, yeah. Graham Steadman last night said he was very emotional. I know exactly how he feels. I was hoping I was going to feel the same way, and it's come off. I can't praise the guys highly enough. You know, they've really responded this week. We've been coachless, obviously, this week, and they've really responded. The young kids that have come into the side, it's been superb.
I mean, a lot of people will say, where has this performance come from? Why haven't Warrington done this earlier in the season? What a time to come up with a performance like this.
Well, I think we've played like this in previous games. You know, it's just been a matter of consistency, and this week the guys have dug in. They've really done it for one another, because basically we've been sailing on our own this week, and we've just put it in for each other.
The great thing is Sibbett, Noon, Gleeson, players like that, players that you've brought through the Academy of the Alliance, that must be what gives you pleasure tonight.
Certainly does, yeah. I thought Mark Gleeson was absolutely outstanding. You know, you look at the size of the guy. He's played against the pack, the biggest pack in rugby league, not just in this country, and he's come out down top. Just superb. Well, there's other guys as well on the touchline that are going to be given game time in the remaining fixtures.
Enjoy it, Paul.
Thanks very much, Bill.
It's 1 for Warrington tonight. Who is the man of the match? Well, who else could it be? Young Mark Gleeson. There he is. He gets the Tissot watch, the performance of a lifetime. Now the interview of a lifetime with Bill.
There you go, Mark. Congratulations. Man of the match. There's your watch. I don't think you can quite believe that, can you?
No, well, thank Tissot, and it was just a great dig-in from the boys. Everyone underestimated us. No one thought we could win. And we just dug in and give it them.
Do you think that's the mistake the Bulls made?
Yeah, they underestimated us, I think, because they didn't play their full squad. They didn't play Fielding and others.
But where did this performance come from you guys?
We just trained well this week and just give it all.
You certainly did. Well done.
Thank you.
And Michael Campbell of Morecambe, you were absolutely right. He was the man of the match, young Mark Gleeson. And Michael, you're off to the grand final on October the 13th. Who on earth will you be watching after all this? You just don't know what to say when you come to Wilderspool. The sun is shining now at Warrington. It's shining on the most remarkable victory of their season. All right, they've beaten Leeds, Saints, Bradford and Wigan here now. That's the top four.
Unbelievable. It would have been an injustice. I said near the end there that Brian Noble would be thankful if he could get 1 point out of this, and then Smythe came up with a try. It was an absolute victory for youth and effort, and that certainly was on show 100% plus by the Warrington side. They dug deep, they were introduced to their new coach, and they produced something extra special. It was the kick from Wood, the mistake from Withers that allowed McCurry to set the ball rolling in the second half, but there's a lot of controversy about this. Kick through from low, Mercer definitely took him out. Now what on earth the referee was thinking there is anybody's guess. And then the first chance that Robbie Paul gets into the clear, Alan Hunt, he has the speed, but the position that Bradford got from here, they were always going to be in trouble in defensive, and when the pass went out to Radford, it looked as though perhaps all the effort that the Wolves produced was going to be for naught. But Coe Love, the first off break, and then Smythe, he beat Withers. Look at the crowd in the background there. They were going bananas, so was I. Boy, oh boy, this game of rugby league is just, well, it's just sensational. It gets bigger, it gets better, and I'm so proud that a hooker, young Gleeson, he must weigh about 9 stone wringing wet. He worked himself to a complete standstill. Good on you, youngster.
Yes, well done, Mark Gleeson. He has won the Man of the Match award. Warrington have won the match. Only Hull of the top four then have won here at Wilderspool this year, but the big four have all been put to the sword. Phil, what a match. That's all I can say. What a match.
Great effort from Warrington, and especially the speed of the defensive line. Mark Gleeson so often leading them up, and really they had to do that to prevent the Bradford players from getting onto a roll. And I think tonight's just demonstrated how uncomfortable Bradford are when they're not in complete control, certainly behind on the scoreboard with 10-15 minutes to go. They don't have the same composure of a side like St Helens, and that's something that I'm sure Brian Noble will want to work on. The body language of the players was all wrong. They weren't happy in the situation, and they certainly, I don't think, took the calm approach to come from behind. Full credit, magnificent performance, and they did have 1 or 2 bits of luck with the decisions that went their way at the end, but, well, they deserve it with the year they've had.
Yes, you're absolutely right. They've had a horrendous year off the field. They've had until this evening, and when we've last seen them against Leeds and Wigan and Saints, they've had a horrendous year on it as well. They just baffle me, this lot, Steve-O. We slammed them, remember, at St Helens not long ago?
I know, they played absolutely woeful that particular day. Well, I haven't mentioned that perhaps they'd have been better off if they'd have had 13 dustbins out there. That's how woeful they played. But today, they dug deep, and it was a youngster that dug deep, and Nick Howe, he took the responsibility of the captaincy on, and John Clark's kicking game was quite superb, and it makes it quite clear, as far as I'm concerned, that Bradford cannot do without Paul Deacon. They need someone out there to do the kicking game. The 2 Pauls can't produce it, and if they don't do it now, they've got to bring him in every game this year.
Well, that's Steve-O's view. I'm sure Brian Noble has his own view, and we will be able to see the wonderful, wonderful story of Super League unfolding again next weekend. Saints Wigan, Friday 7:30, Sky Sports 1. That's huge, and this is massive. Leeds Bradford next Saturday at 6. It's back here on Sky Sports 3. Wow, what a weekend we've had. Can't believe what we've seen here tonight. Pinch yourself. Bye-bye.
We're gonna need bigger guns.
You got me out of bed for a snake?
The premiere of King Cobra, followed by Piper, Thursday from 8 on Sky Movie Max.
Yeah, right, cool. Did you just win lottery?
No, 'cause I'm over 50, Barclay Jacobs unlocked my pension and got me tax-free cash.
Wow. Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, I just called 0800 44 88 88 and told them I'm over 50 and I have a pension that I'm not currently receiving, and they said I could get a tax-free cash sum and or a pension now or later.
Call Barclay Jacobs today on 0800 44 88 88 for your free information guide.
Oh. Ah. Oh, oh. Ah. Ooh. Ah. Ah.
How's your mum and dad?
I moved out last month.
How's the lovely Rachel?
Oh, Rachel is now Tara.
Oh.
Ah, thanks. Charles' grandma, where is she?
Grandma? Grandma's moved in with Derek from the bridge club.
Which communications network can put your business in touch with the entire country? A whole region? An individual city? An apartment block? Number 34? Or just Pete Smith, who's about to become your next customer? Think Royal Mail, and you're in business.
Planet of the Apes is coming exclusively in the Mail on Sunday.
It's disgusting the way we treat humans.
Night and day special issue, plus your chance to get free Planet of the Apes preview tickets. Kill them all. Only in tomorrow's Mail on Sunday.
And if anyone knows of any good reason why these two people should not be joined in matrimony, will they speak now?
Yes. Stop. What are you doing? This bride is not ready yet. She needs to evolve for at least a couple of million years. Haven't you guys ever heard of Darwin? Look, you rushed things. Not so good. Now the Grolsch is brewed slowly. Very good.
Isn't that right, my foreign friend? Grolsch. We only let you drink it when it's ready.
Over 35 hours of live action coming up next weekend, including Tri-Nations Rugby, Walker Cup Golf and the FA Charity Shield. This is Sky Sports 2.
Very good evening to you. Coming up in just a moment, all the highlights of another terrific day's Test match cricket from Trent Bridge. And then at 10:30, when you've seen them, why don't you give us a call and give us your verdict? The Ashes, your call will be on the air. And these are the numbers you should be dialing: 09015 666 333, that's if you're in the UK. 1150 718 701 if you're calling us from the Republic of Ireland. We've got a fax number, it's 0207 705 3698, and you know the email address by now, cricket@bskyb.com. So we'll see you at 10:30. Now here's David Gower from Trent Bridge.
Going, gone. As the third day of the third test dawned, the Australians were favourites to take the prize in the